Get this a few seconds. Let me get set up here. I'm gonna go ahead and get set up. We're gonna roll for a little bit. Alright. This is how we're gonna do this. We're not gonna wait too much longer. I'm gonna know a lot of you all getting ready to go to work. Hope you all having a wonderfully blessed day thus far. Y'all know who this is. This your boy Rob Thomas Jr. with a good cup of coffee, and this is the real news behind the news. Oh yeah, today is March 6th, Friday, 2020. We here in Shreveport, Louisiana. It looks like it's gonna turn out to be a great day. I'm hoping y'all having good weather where y'all at. We finally getting some good weather here in Shreveport. I'm gonna try to get out here and go try to line up some work. But I'm gonna trying something on a morning basis. I'm gonna try to do something around 8 o'clock every morning. Good morning. How you doing? I work from home. I wish I could work from home. You know, lately I've been trying. I've been having to. The weather been so bad here. But I'm hoping you have a blessed day thus far. I'm going to go ahead and get started. You know, I don't too much try to wait around because I know people are busy. And, you know, I'm doing this, again, at a time where people are usually going to work. But I want to bring some updated information about two subjects. You know, I talked about these two subjects briefly yesterday. But we want to talk about the latest on the coronavirus. Also, we want to talk about, ask the question, does Joe Biden exhibit symptoms of dementia? I mean, you got to pay attention. This dude is running for president of the United States, and he's already close to 79 years old. And when you listen at him in a lot of his public speeches, you can tell by his speech that this dude is not mentally all there. At his advanced age, again, it leads us to ask the question, is he suffering from the earliest onset of dementia? And we're going to bring up a couple of articles on that to show you some of his speeches, you know, where he made some major mistakes, which will lead you to ask that question. Also, we're going to go briefly into two articles about the coronavirus. Now, we're not trying to stir up panic or create, you know what I'm saying, hysteria. But we do have to point out that as of right now, this virus is not killing as many people as the flu, but we are not aware of its full potential. But we see the way that this virus is spreading, it does have the potential to become something serious. And we're going to start off with an article from Yahoo News this morning. Now, I'm gonna have to go back and do the description of this video after I do the video. But I'm going to put the links up to these articles. That way you can go and check and search the information, and that way you can start your own research. But again, this is from Yahoo News, and I'm going to read a brief part of it. As the coronavirus spread, one study predicts that even the best case scenario is 15 million dead and a 2.4 trillion hit to the global GDP. I'm gonna go ahead and start the article. Well, it's just giving us a basic. Let me go ahead and read this. The coronavirus outbreak originated in Wuhan, China, has killed nearly 3,300 people and infected more than 95,000. The virus, which causes a disease known as COVID-19, has spread to at least 81 countries. While much is still unknown about the virus, a group of Australian experts have estimated that the virus may have severe consequences on the global gross domestic product. New modeling from the Australian National University looks at 7 scenarios of how the outbreak might affect the world's wealth, ranging from low severity to high severity. The low severity model, or best case scenario of the 7, the ANU researchers estimate a global GDP loss of 2.4 trillion, which is with an estimated death toll of 15 million. Now, according to this study, they're saying that they in the best case scenario, that they are expecting 15 million people maybe to die. Now, keep in mind, this is just an experiment. This is not saying that that's going to happen. But this is what this university in Australia has come up with. And 2 trillion loss to the gross domestic product, global gross domestic product. As coronavirus cases continue to rise around the world, a group of Australian experts predict the economic impact. Hold on, I just read that. Oh no, let me go back a little bit. As coronavirus cases continue to rise around the world, a group of Australian experts predict that the economic impact of the disease in the best case scenario may total 2.4 trillion in lost GDP product. The coronavirus outbreak that originated, man, I read that before. Okay, y'all forgive me. We're going to go down here. More than 150 cases have been reported in the U.S., including 11 deaths across 2 states. The World Health Organization has declared the outbreak an international public health emergency and warned that the window of opportunity to contain it is narrowing. Well, pretty much that window is closed right now. You know what I'm saying? Because it has spread to what? 81 different countries, pretty much on every continent of the world. And just think, what, 3 months ago, it was just in China, Wuhan, China. Now, we're going to come up in the second article and explain to you all a little bit more how we believe that this virus was weaponized and unleashed deliberately. We're going to go back and finish this article here so we can lead into the next article. On Tuesday, the World Health Organization noted that the global death rate for the novel coronavirus, based on the latest figure, was 3.4%. Higher than earlier figures of about 2%. The WHO General Director Theodros Ghebreyesus said the new coronavirus was a unique virus with unique characteristics. One of the unique characteristics about this virus is that it is mutating. They're now saying that there are 2 strains of the virus. You have to realize, again, this virus was genetically modified or altered through biometrics. You know what I'm saying? Basically, it's a bioweapon. It's a biological weapon. Anytime you manipulate the DNA of a pathogen, you basically are creating a new pathogen, which now has the ability to mutate on its own. You see, first they're saying that this virus was supposed to have been spread from an animal to a human. Well, normally that's kind of almost 99% unable to happen unless the virus mutate and now is able to become airborne. You see what I'm saying? Now once the virus mutate and it can survive in the air, it spreads just like the common cold. This is why you see people running around here, they putting the emphasis on keeping hand sanitizer, and disinfecting areas. This is what's happening. The virus has made the mutation, and now allegedly it has jumped from animals to humans. You see what I'm saying? So you notice it's hard for a human to give the common cold to an animal. Well, if these viruses mutate, then it makes it possible for the jump to go. And this is what we're seeing. Now we're seeing 2 different strains of the virus. And again, everything that I say is based upon real research, factual research that we might spend 4 or 5 hours, a day just researching all the articles. And pretty much in the best and worst case scenario, what we're understanding here at the Real News Behind the News, and what they're not telling you on the television, is that this virus was weaponized through genetic modification, unleashed on the country of China. You know what I'm saying? And basically, it is mutated again. Now it's spreading all across the world at a rate that's pretty much reminiscent of the Spanish flu back in what I think it was 1918. But let me go ahead and get into this second article. The first article is pretty much, let me go ahead and finish reading a little bit more so we can, have a better understanding when we go into the next article. New modeling from the Australian National University looks at 7 scenarios of how this might affect the world's wealth, ranging from lows of severity to high. 4 of the 7 scenarios in the paper examine the impact of COVID-19 spreading outside China, ranging from low to high severity. A 7th scenario examines the global impact in which a mild pandemic occurs each year indefinitely. But even in the low severity model or best case scenario of the seven, which the paper acknowledged were not definitive, ANU researchers estimated global gross domestic product loss of 2.4 trillion with an estimated of 15 million deaths. Okay, now that article keeps on just repeating those statistics. We're going to go to this next article, which I think really highlights it all. And again, I'll put the link up to this so you all can study it in detail. I'm going to be real brief with this. But it's called Event 21. Now, Event 21 was a scenario held by the world. Well, let me just go ahead and read the gist of this article. The Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, in partnership with the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, hosted Event 201, a high-level pandemic exercise on October 18, 2019 in New York, New York. Now, keep that date in mind because that date is very important. The exercise illustrates areas where public-private partnerships will be necessary during the response to a severe pandemic in order to diminish large-scale economic and societal consequences. Pay attention now. In recent years, the world has seen a growing number of epidemic events, amounting to approximately 200 events annually. These events are increasing and they're disruptive to health, economies, and society. Managing these events already strains global capacity, even absent a pandemic threat. Experts agree that it's only a matter of time before these epidemics become global, a pandemic with a potentially catastrophic consequence. A severe pandemic, which becomes Event 201, would require reliable cooperation among several industrial, national governments, and key international institutions. Now, as you go along and read this article here, it's basically almost like a PDF. But what happened in Event 201, and reason why I say that date was very significant, this event was hosted again by people like Bill and Melinda the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the World Health Organization, your major banks, the central banking cartel was there, your pharmaceutical companies were there, you had government officials there from around the world. And what this event was talking about, what we're going to do if there's a major outbreak. And in that event, if you go back and look at it, because it's on video, they specifically mentioned a type of Chrono virus. You have to realize there's different strains of Chrono virus. Chrono virus is basically the generic term for any virus that attacks your respiratory system. Keep in mind, it has a strain of the HIV virus. It was manipulated and genetically altered with a strain of the HIV virus. Keep in mind that they actually researched these viruses in legitimate settings at these universities and whatever. So you know your military has weapons labs that genetically alter these viruses. So coronavirus, SARS is up under, remember SARS over in China 2 years ago. The pig flu, the swine flu, the bird flu, all these are a form of a coronavirus, a coronavirus. These viruses mutate. This is why now you have what's called the COVID-19 sickness that comes from this type of coronavirus. Hey, thank y'all for joining in. Hey, leave y'all comments. If y'all have any comments, go ahead and leave them, and we'll try to address them. But hit that like button so we can get this video to go up, in the search. Please hit the like button if you like this information. But again, now Event 201 is describing what would happen if a global pandemic took place, especially with the coronavirus. And again, you had people like Bill and Melinda Gates sponsoring this, and you got to realize Bill Gates is a eugenicist. He's one of those people that believes that 7 billion people on the planet is too much. We have to get the world's population under control, preferably to 100 million. Now, I can put up a link to a video where Bill Gates was literally saying, at a speech he gave, we need to control the world's population, basically through reproductive research, through vaccinations, and other food controlling the food. Bill Gates is a eugenicist. He believes that so much of the population has to die so that the world's resources can be properly managed by those who survive. So again, that's that 1%. Think about it. He's saying really the poor should die, while the 1%, under 100 million, you see, think about it, 7 billion people on the planet. This man says he believes that we need we need no more than 100 million people on the planet. That 1%. You see what I'm saying? So again, now they put this event. They hosted this event, this seminar or whatever it was, 2 weeks before the first case of the coronavirus was reported. Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How bad do you think it's going to get? I'm gonna be real. Right now, I'm gonna be real. The media is using it to as a psychological operation. They're getting everybody scared. They're getting everybody prepared for really, you know what I'm saying, what might come next. And if you look at what's going to come next, look at what they're doing in China. Now, China has pretty much, according to them, have their numbers under control. But of course, we know that they're communist propaganda, you know what I'm saying, source when it comes to their media. But in China, what they're doing right now is they're literally quarantining whole cities. So if it does get bad in America, you're looking at a martial law type situation where literally they're going to be closing schools. They might impose curfews. And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but in the worst case scenario, it will happen. It's basically a way for them to practice martial law. So that's why I say it's a psychological operation. Now, as far as the disease itself, if it really depends. If it's able to survive the summer months, because you know most of the symptoms are cold and flu-like type symptoms because it's a respiratory disease. So who knows? It might mutate again, and it might, you know what I'm saying, might do some damage. But if you notice right now, it's mostly killing the people. Killing elderly people and people who already have good morning, Brother Anthony. How you doing? How you doing? But the disease is basically killing elderly people whose system is already compromised in some way or form or fashion. You see what I'm saying? So who knows if the virus mutates again and now it becomes stronger. You see what I'm saying? It might start affecting children, you know, small children. You know what I'm saying? Usually the elderly and the children, adolescents, are the ones who really suffer from a lot of these viruses and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It first affects them adversely more than it would somebody, you know, let's just say in the age of 20 to 45, whose immune system is probably, you know, pretty much strong. But one thing that you got to pay attention to, I'm going to tell you who's going to profit from it, though, the pharmaceutical companies. Now, me, myself, I'm going to be real. I don't believe in vaccinations. You know, if you pay attention to vaccinations and the rate of autism, you would understand the reason why I'm totally against it. Because these vaccinations are pretty much what's causing a lot of the problems. Antibiotics cause a lot of problems. Because, see, what happens nowadays, a person gets a cold or a flu, you know what I'm saying, they go and get antibiotics. And what happens with the antibiotics, they basically weaken your immune system. You see what I'm saying? It makes your immune system not able to fight off these diseases naturally because you've introduced all these artificial agents into the body. You see what I'm saying? So this is what's happening in around the world today, the weakening of the human immune system through antibiotics. Now, vaccinations are totally different because they're just like vaccinations or like flu shot. They're sending, they're basically, I lost track, my alarm went off on this other phone, but they're, I lost my train of thought. But vaccinations, they're injecting you with live organisms that are basically products of the organisms that they're trying to keep you from getting sick from. Notice when you go get a flu shot, it's somewhat of a vaccination. But most people get sicker from the flu shot than they actually would the flu. because you're introducing the flu into the body. Now, with a lot of these vaccinations they giving children, man, you got stuff like mercury in those vaccinations. You got zinc and all these other different chemicals in these in these vaccinations, and it's frying the children's brain. We also know that American, world leaders, world governments, do not have problem with experimenting with chemical agents on their people. Just think about it again, the Tuskegee experiment, where they deliberately infected these black men with the herpes virus just to see what was going to happen and how they can cure it. So again, going on with the Chrono virus, they're coming up with a vaccine right now. Then they're going to try to eventually, if it gets bad, they will force everybody on the planet to take this vaccination. Who's going to make money? The pharmaceutical company. So this thing could be looked at a lot of ways. As far as it being weaponized and unleashed on the public, it's a way that they can control the population. You know what I'm saying? They can literally allow so many people to die, you know, because they can make the, if it gets bad, they can make the vaccination so high that the average person can't afford it. You see what I'm saying? They can kill you off that way. It's a way for the pharmaceutical companies to make tens upon tens of billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Just up on the vaccination. It's also a way for the government to crack down on your freedoms, restrict your movement. You see what's happening in, like I said, in these other countries, how they are quarantining whole cities. Believe it or not, y'all, martial law is easy to enforce here in America right now. We know a lot of people talk about martial law, but let me show you how easy it is. You live in a police state already. Think about this. Everywhere you go, there's a camera pointed on you. Through social media, through your cell phone, literally. They can track you. Think about this. Your phone, why do you think they call it Android? Your phone is a robot, people. It's literally a robot. That's why they call it Android. They can use your phone to track you. So you're living in a police state. All they have to do is call out the National Guard in your city. They can lock down whole neighborhoods and restrict your movement. Look what they did in Ferguson, Missouri. Remember when Michael Brown got killed? They were able to lock down whole neighborhoods. Ferguson, Missouri was a psychological operation and a practice for martial law, because if you look at this one clip, and I'm going to try to figure out a way to upload some of these clips, I'm sure, and explain what this one dude said when they was in Ferguson, right after Michael Brown's death. They locked their whole neighborhood down, literally by putting barricades on certain streets and sending military vehicles. It wasn't really the military, but it was the militarized police. How you doing, Miss? Yeah. Well, thank you. No, it's not. I just do research and try to put it out there. But thank you. God bless you. Back to what they did, how they can clamp down on you again. All they have to do is put a tank at a certain point, and basically set up checkpoints. I mean, your local police can do that right now. But in Ferguson, they had a militarized police force. You see what I'm saying? You look around the country, your police are heavily militarized. They basically buy surplus equipment from your military. So all they have to do to declare martial law is something as simple as say we imposing a curfew, and to enforce this curfew, they can put heavy Humvee, armored Humvees, and just say right up here on this street, on each major street in the block, and shut down the whole area. This is one of the worst case scenarios if this virus spread. Now, I spent a little too much time on the virus. I'm going to put the links up on there. Y'all can go ahead and check this out. I'm going to go to this last story because I don't want to hold y'all too long. And we want to talk about Joe Biden injected them with syphilis. Yeah, they injected them with syphilis. I said herpes. Thank you for correcting me, my brother. You're right. It was syphilis in the Tuskegee experiment where they infected these black men as an experiment. Now, keep in mind, you can do this research also. Just Google it. Go ask Google, how many times has the American government admitted to performing, conducting secret biological experiments on the American public? And you'll see there's at least 209. I mean, one of the most obvious was what they did in San Francisco. I think it was back in '56 when your government got caught basically using the fog in San Francisco to drop biological agents on the population of San Francisco. I forget what the name of the exact operation was, but again, that's something that's general knowledge. But let me go ahead and talk about how the Democrats basically have given Donald Trump another 4 years. Yep, it's basic. You might as well face it. There's only two people in the race. Well, there's three. Tulsi Gabbard, she's still in the race. Y'all need to check her out and listen to her. She really don't have a chance, but listen to her message. This is why they tried to shut her out from Jump Street. And that's why you don't hear about her. She has 2 delegates now. But anyway, you got Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. Now, my choice is, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican or whatever, but if I was to choose one candidate in the Democratic race right now, it would be Bernie Sanders. Because Bernie Sanders, even though he's old, he still has his mental faculties. Joe Biden is a joke. And this is who your mainstream media is pushing on you. Pay attention to how they glorify Joe Biden and they villainize Bernie Sanders. I mean, all your mainstream media outlets are literally brainwashing the Democratic public, their Democratic audience, into rolling with Joe Biden. Again, I'm going to show y'all some real game. Buttigieg, Bloomberg, who else was Klobuchar. They were really in the race knowing that they really didn't have a chance, and the reason why they stayed as long as they did was basically to hurt Bernie Sanders. When they dropped out, notice they dropped out right before the South Carolina, right before the Super Tuesday elections primaries this week, right? They dropped out and literally endorsed Biden, which basically it was a psychological push, a psychological operation on the American public to make them feel like, wow, since they dropped out, they're supporting Biden, I'm going to give Biden my vote. my vote. Excuse me. So now they endorse Biden, which gives Biden that push, which pushes him ahead of Bernie Sanders in the delegate count. Now, pay attention to Joe Biden, y'all. I'm finna show y'all what y'all finna get as Democrats. You're finna get a man who's suffering from dementia. He has the early stages of dementia. You see what I'm saying? Meaning basically he's literally mentally unfit to even make decisions based upon his own finances right now, his own estate, because he's literally suffering from dementia. Now I'm going to give y'all a couple examples, and again, I'm going to put this in here, and then I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. I'm going to give y'all a couple examples of some of the things that he said. You can tell he's suffering dementia by what he's saying, and this is what I mean. Donald Trump is going to slaughter him. If he's the Democratic nominee, Donald Trump is going to kill this man and literally walk into the White House on a landslide, because Donald Trump is going to point this out. Bernie Sanders right now should be pointing out the fact that Joe Biden is mentally incapable, incompetent. Y'all call him, the Democrats are calling Trump stupid. Trump is very intelligent. He would not have slid his way into the White House if he was stupid, because nobody, Republicans or Democrats, wanted him in the White House, but he's there. Now, here you are with a man who suffered from dementia, and you know how Donald Trump is with his slick tweets and all that. He is going to slaughter Joe Biden in any general election, based just generally calling him Crazy Joe. Because right now, for lack of a better word, Joe Biden is crazy. Let me give you a couple examples. And y'all go back and look at this man's speeches. You see what I'm saying? And just see. Like, remember the speech where I think it was who said Abraham Lincoln, we hold these truths to be self-evident. Again, and for every thing that I'm about to read, I'm just reading out like 10 of his greatest exhibitions of early on dementia. When he said, we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by the the thing. I mean, listen to this. Just the other day, remember the other day when when he found out that he took the lead in delegates, and he was on stage and he turned around and said, I want to introduce my sister. And they said, oh, that's my wife. Oh, they changed spots on me. Well, even if that's so, guess what? That means they have to coach him and tell him, your wife is going to be on this side now, Joe, and your sister is going to be on this side. I know people might say that's a simple mistake. No, it's not a simple mistake, because you don't forget where your wife is at. Your wife is your soulmate. She's supposed to be right by your side. You know what I'm saying? I could be in a crowded room and I'm going to feel what my wife is at. He turned, but anyway, that's just one. Man, I can go on and on. Let me go on. I'm the Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look at me. Oh, look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the BI. Give me a look, though, okay? I mean, he's stuttering and stammering through his words. Now, people might say, that's normal. I had somebody make that comment earlier. But no, you don't just, I mean, literally make these type of mistakes when you're running for president, for the office of president of the United States. Here's another one. All right, Chuck, this is when he was on an interview with Chris Wallace on Sunday Morning Press. He at the end, he called Chris Wallace Chuck, and Chris Wallace had to remind him again. I think it was 2 times he had to remind him, my name is not Chuck, I'm Chris Wallace, right here in the state of South Carolina. You know, there's another one. I can go on, randomly biting his wife's finger. As his wife standing up there on stage giving her, I guess she's finna introduce him or whatever, she's holding her hand out while she's talking, you know, like most people would do hand gestures, and he's biting at her finger. Now, I can go on and on with this. I'm going to get ready and finish this up because I got to here since this weather is good now and try to generate some work, you know what I'm saying? But injected with syphilis, let me see. Do we have any more comments? Hey, once again, I thank every last one of y'all for being here to with me on this morning to hear what it is that I have to say as far as bringing you all information and knowledge. We really appreciate all our subscribers, man. Y'all keep me doing what I do, man. You know, y'all give me the motivation that I need, bro, because sometimes it gets hard putting information out there because most people would rather be entertained than informed. You know, again, now we'll bring you some entertainment issues if it's something like, you know, that's really affects your day-to-day life. Like, we don't get out there and talk about the tabloid stuff, but we do talk about when these entertainers, like such as Dwayne Wade, comes out and pushes the gay and lesbian agenda upon society, which has a tendency to brainwash your children. You just have to look at Biden's eyes and tell that something is exactly. You can tell this man. Well, let me go a little bit longer. You can tell that something is not right with this man. He's suffering from the early stages of dementia, and this is, guess what? This is who the Democrats are pushing at you all. I mean, at their Democratic followers, their Democratic base. They're pushing a man that they know is psychologically, mentally incapable of even making a day-to-day decision. So that leads you to ask the question, who is going to, hello, good morning. Thank you. I praise all glory to God, man, because again, it's easy to do the informational research. It's just that, you know, again, with these robots that's called androids and these smartphones, most people are looking at Facebook all day or trying to find something to entertain him, but he do it all the time. Who, that Joe Biden? Yeah, he does it all the time because he's literally losing his mind. The things that he does is not him doing it all the time. It's the things that he's doing. You have to pay attention. His speech, his cognizant memory. Again, he can't even remember where his wife is at. It's like either he's heavily medicated or he's just losing his mind. And literally, this is who the Democrats are pushing as their candidate. Do you think this man have a chance to beat Donald Trump? Yeah, thumbs up the like button. Hey, thank you for helping us out. You know, yeah, I mean, 'cause we can use those likes. But again, this man, Joe Biden, is mentally unfit really to make his day-to-day decision. It's probably hard for him to get dressed by. So you got to keep in mind, the man is 79 years old. 78 years old. He's 78 years old, so, you know, I mean, it's amazing that Bernie is as sharp as he is, because Bernie right now is a threat. Although I don't even think Bernie can beat Trump right now, because Trump is going to hammer the issue if Bernie gets the nomination of basically, he's going to try to paint Bernie as a communist, when Bernie really is, and I keep these words in mind, he's a democratic socialist. That's totally different from a Marxist socialist. He's a democratic socialist, which I guess their principle is that the government should do more for the citizens by providing social programs to help those at the bottom and not allow those at the top, the corporations who are pushing Biden, the banks and the corporations are pushing Joe Biden. That's where he's getting all his campaign money from. But he's Bernie is, like I said, a democratic socialist who believes that the government should do more for the poor, like free education, free health care for all. Now, there's a big question of how would you pay for that? And the answer for that, stop going to all these wars overseas. Think about this again. I'm going to end this because, again, I want you all to have a good day at your job. And I got to try to get out here and find some work since we got good weather. But, I lost my train of thought. But you have to realize that we spend almost $700 billion a year on war. Illegal wars overseas. Iraq, Somalia, Libya, Syria, Yemen, the Sudan. Literally, we're at war in 181 countries around the world in some way or another. We have military bases in thousands of countries. Why would we have military bases pretty much in every country in the Middle East almost? It's because of conquest. And again, we spending $700 billion a year on weapons of war. Don't you realize you can literally end homelessness for $20 billion a year? So you pay for those social services by stop going to war, spending billions of dollars on weapons to kill innocent people when you can't you don't want to feed your people. Here, again, I'm going to say this and I'm going to go. Trump just created a new bill that's going to literally cut food stamps to a lot of people. Now, I understand what they're saying. Working body, able-bodied individuals, you see what I'm saying, are going to be cut. But some of these people are able-bodied and can't get jobs because they might be convicted felons. They might have a slight mental disorder, so they're not able to hold down a job or even get a job. But he wants to cut food stamps over the next 5 years by $5 billion. But just spent $700 billion this year alone. $700 billion last year on weapons of war. And guess what? The Democrats who say they hate Donald Trump went right along with him, voted the resolution through, and funded your military-industrial complex illegal wars. Hey, this your boy Rob Thomas Jr., man. I thank y'all for following me. The real news behind the news, man. We're going to keep doing it. Hey, keep, sharing our videos, man. And most likely, you're going to have to keep making sure that you subscribe. Because they at one point had a way of just keep unsubscribing our subscribers. But now we hit that 1,030 mark. I'm grateful and I'm happy. And I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to try to do it consistently. You know what I'm saying? On a day-to-day basis, this little morning thing that I'm doing. And we're going to try to take this to another level. Again, we do need y'all support, man, on this. Like I say, through social media and also financially. If you all like what we're doing, man, we can actually, right now, we do need the help to keep this going because, God just blessed me the other day to get my phone back on. But the internet, you know what I'm saying, is another important issue that we need because this is draining my data. I had to get a small data package. So I'm going to be out of data pretty soon, and we need that little Wi-Fi that helps us, actually get online when we don't have data on our phone. So, we'll put the Cash App in the description section, of course. We're not going to, come with no begging pitch, no sales pitch, but we can use some donations, man. So hit the Cash App if y'all like what we're doing. But until later on, also, always leave your comments. Even though I might, be doing these videos live and your comments coming through and I try to catch them, I can always go back and read your comments. And they actually help give me more information or more material to do for other shows. So again, hey, I'm finna get ready and go out here and try to get some, y'all pray for me. It's a beautiful day. If I can't do nothing but rake a yard today, you know what I'm saying? Hey, that'll be a blessing. But hey, y'all be blessed.